Hello YouTube, this is Steve, your English teacher for the C1 course, this complete course that I've got on my channel that if you watch all the videos will give you a huge chance to pass the C1 exam if you follow my advice. We are moving on to speaking, so it's time to start speaking. Pause the video, say hello to me. How do you do well in the speaking exam? Well, we're going to look at part 1 today and in other videos the other parts, thinking about what they want you to do in the speaking exam. They want you to speak, but they want you to speak in a specific way to show some skills, some functions. That's what we're going to talk about today, the best way of doing it. In general then, I would say, before you go to the exam, please relax. You've practiced this a lot, you know what to expect, you know the different parts of the exam, you've learned some expressions from all these videos, from your research and studies online. You've got this, it's going to be okay. And of course, they want you to pass. Nobody wants to see a student fail. The people doing the exams are just English teachers like me, like you, maybe not like you, but like me. And we want you to do well. It pains us to see someone struggling and they're being objective and fair, but they want to help you pass the exam. They want to give you every opportunity. You don't understand something, you say, sorry, I didn't catch that, and they will help you. They understand that it's a stressful situation. They're helping you. And my last tip, this one's a difficult one. But sometimes you're just in a mood where you can just talk and talk and talk and it seems easy. Sometimes some substances are involved which can help you get to this state. I wouldn't recommend that for the exam, it's up to you. But just some days the words seem to come out, the ideas seem to come and you can express yourself. Try and get into that place in the exam. If there's something that helps you get there, talking to a friend, writing to a friend on a messaging service, your English friend and so on, just so you're in that state where the words are flowing, the ideas are coming out and you're in that good place. You want to be in that place for the exam because it's all about showing off your level. You might speak great English, but if you don't show it in those 15 minutes, how are they going to give you the C1 exam? You've got to be switched on for those 15 minutes, trying the best you can. Okay, so let's get into part 1. Part 1. There are 2 phases to part 1, and the first phase is extremely easy. It is, please come in, take a seat. You're speaking English to these people in the exam, and it is your name, where you're from, and then how long you've been studying English, or do you enjoy studying English. We're not going to look at this because if you can't answer these questions, you shouldn't be doing a C1 exam. You should know your name. You don't get any marks for that on the exam, unfortunately. Say it clearly, even if you've got some weird foreign name with lots of J's and Z's and all these weird letters that we don't really like, good English people, but say it clearly. But that's phase 1, it's very simple. Let's move on to phase 2, which is where we need to start thinking, because phase 2 is where we talk about some general topics and you have to answer some questions in part 1. Problem is, these are very general topics. You are not going to be able to prepare all these questions that come up for part 1 because the topics, look at these topics. It could be anything. A question about plans. You can't prepare all the questions about plans. What you need to prepare is the skills of, okay, here's a topic, I can talk about this confidently, fluently, because I've got a C1 level. You understand the question, and then you think, okay, what's a good answer for this? An idea, and express it, which we'll be looking at in this video, because the main skill is coming up with an idea or a couple of clear ideas to say on any topic, and then using a bit of vocab, a bit of advanced grammar to show off your idea. That's what we need to do for the C1 exam. That's what you need to practice. Get these kind of topics, get lots of questions, think, okay, if I was in the exam and they asked me that, boom, okay, this is my idea. Well, I think, what's important for me is, and you start talking. That's what you practice. So let's do it. An example, you can see one of my first topics here is social life, which could mean anything, but this is a real question from a past C1 exam, sort of on the social life topic. Is it better to have a few close friends or a wide circle of acquaintances? So I hear this question and I start thinking straight away, okay, close friends. Well, close friends, trust them, keep secrets, help you out if you're in a mess. Acquaintances, well, you know more people because you know lots of them, they're just acquaintances. Maybe they have different interests, different ideas and so on. Okay, so there's my idea that's going on, and then I start using some typical phrases. Well, that's a tough question. Oof, I haven't thought about that before. But I would say, and then you start expressing your idea in the best way you can. Try and answer this if you want with your own idea. Pause the video and try and answer it. What would you say in this situation? And here is what I said. I'll put a little timer on because I want to be 30 seconds, absolute maximum, ideally more like 15, 20 seconds, but I put a 30-second timer on just to demonstrate. But here's my answer. Well, that's a tough one. I guess close friends are good because you can trust them to keep secrets or help you out if you get in a mess or something. But having lots of acquaintances could be good because you know more people, like different interests, different perspective, different types of people. So yeah, they're both. But I think for me, I would say close friends are more important overall. Something like that, you can see 20 seconds, 25, and it's going to be a bit improvised. I'm cheating, I've prepared this, but something like that is what you want. I've tried to make it fairly improvised using typical speaking structures and then putting my idea, putting it into a clear sentence. If I can try and get a little bit of good vocab in there, get in a mess, keep secrets, different types of people with types plural, overall, little connecting phrase, organize my answer clearly. So that's going to be a good part one answer if you do something like that. Let's go into a bit more detail then. We're going to be thinking about the criteria that they are assessing in the speaking exam. And there's 5 criteria, which are grammar, vocab, discourse, interaction and delivery. In part 1, we're only going to focus on the first 3 because these are the ones of what you are saying and how you are saying it. Interaction is more for parts 3 and 4, where you have to have a conversation and they are testing your conversational skills. And delivery, very difficult for me to teach you delivery. Speak like me. Speak with a nice southern British accent and you'll definitely pass. Or speak with an American accent because you watch too many series, but delivery is about being clear with your fluency and pronunciation. So we can't really practice that in a YouTube video. That's something you need to do by yourself. So for these 3 criteria then, we're going to focus on these and look at some sample answers and say what makes them good, how can we improve them. Right, so we'll start, we're going to do like a B1, what I'd consider a B1 level answer. That is to say, not good enough. Question is, another typical like healthy life C1 question. How important do you think your diet is in leading a healthy lifestyle? Okay, so you're thinking diet, food, health, disease, vegetables, typical ideas that you can talk about. And like a substandard answer I would consider, I think diet is very important because if you eat good food, you will be healthy. If you eat bad food, you won't be healthy. So yes, I think diet is important. Okay, it is an answer to the question, is diet important? Yes, it's important. Good food, healthy. Bad food, not healthy. You can't deny that they are answering the question, but it doesn't fulfill the criteria we talked about very well. In terms of grammar, it's a very basic answer. I think it is important because, I mean, there's a first conditional, you will, but then we've just repeated it again. And it's just very B1 phrases. Yes, I think it's important. We're not showing off much range here. And definitely the same in terms of vocab. We're just repeating words from the question. Is diet important? Yes, diet is important. Healthy? Yes, healthy. Not healthy. You're not showing much off. You're not showing your range of vocab and everything you've learned. And in terms of discourse, well, it's a relevant answer, but it's very basic, so we're not really connecting ideas together. The only linking words we have are because and so it's not very varied, again, very repetitive, very basic. This is where you'd start. You know, this is like, okay, healthy food means a healthy lifestyle, yes. But we need to elaborate, we need to give examples, we need to use a bit of spice up the answer a little bit to get to C1 level. Let's try and get there. Let's move on. Let's improve it a little bit. Let's go to B2. It's a good answer, but you're still not quite, you know, C1 is a high level. It's a very fluent, well-spoken, well-educated speaker. So same question. I think diet is very important because a balanced diet would make you feel better. Personally, I try to eat lots of fruit and vegetables and I only have fast food once a week or maybe every 2 weeks. That's a better answer. You know, that's probably acceptable in the C1 exam. Why is it good again then? It's better. Why? Well, the grammar, we've got some more complex ideas to use more grammatical functions to make someone feel something, make you feel better. We've got try with the infinitive. I try to eat, as in like I make an effort to do it. once a week correctly using this frequency expression, not saying one time or once in a week, no, once a week used correctly. So because of the different ideas, this lets us use some more grammar. That's what we need to access, this more impressive grammar. And the same for vocab. When we get into a bit more specifics and not just saying, yes, diet is important, then we get some more varied vocab. A balanced diet, fruit and vegetables, fast food. It shows that you can talk about this subject, and the examiner will think, okay, I asked them about healthy life, diet, and they had all this vocab. By implication, if I ask them about transport, then they will also have lots of vocab, because they can't just study healthy life, they must have general good vocab. And in terms of discourse, it's a more relevant answer because we've got more detail, a reason why it's important, that it makes you feel better, an example with personally. It's a more convincing, complete answer. You're starting to sound like someone who knows what they're talking about, which is the impression you want to give in a speaking exam. Because of your English level, you know what you can give that impression that you're comfortable speaking on these topics, and that's what they want to see. Right, final step, you can guess where this is going. So same question, C1 level, how important is diet in a healthy lifestyle? I think diet is the key to being healthy. You know, you can do lots of exercise, but if you ate junk food every day, you could still run into problems like heart disease. I make an effort to cook my own food whenever I can, and I always add plenty of vegetables to the dishes I make. My typical dinner would be something like brown rice with chicken and broccoli. Wow, that's a good answer. This is, as I said, perhaps unrealistic, but you can see the ideas I'm trying to use, what I'm trying to do with this answer. Why is it so much better? Well, we've got a much greater range of grammar because they all come up naturally because I've got these different ideas. We've got a second conditional. If you ate junk food, you could run into problems. We've got whenever, as in it doesn't matter when, all the times, whenever I can. We've got a relative pronoun, the dishes that I make, the dishes I make. We can omit it, it's fine. And in terms of vocab, it's going to be the same. We've got knowledge on the topic with junk food, heart disease, brown rice, chicken and broccoli. Okay, it's basic, but it shows that it's right there, ready to use on this topic. And in terms of discourse, it's a very complete answer. This is someone who could keep talking all day, like, oh, they love talking about their diet and their healthy lifestyle. And that is the impression that you want to give, that you could keep talking in English all day, because that is the level you need to have. We've got another idea introduced, a bit like a counter example. Okay, we're talking about healthy lifestyle. Well, let's compare it to exercise. Because I think exercise is great, but it's not enough. You need a diet as well. So we're comparing it. And then the consequences of the questions. So if you don't do it, heart disease. We've got a specific example of a typical dinner. So lots of ideas related to this question, a very complete, convincing, well-structured answer. That is the kind of thing we could be aiming for. Right, we're coming towards the end. The only thing that's left is for you to keep practicing this yourself. How do you practice it yourself? You find typical C1 questions like these that I found on some website. There are thousands of questions. You can make your own questions. If you were going to ask someone about sport, what would you ask them? Try and think about the ideas they're looking for, how you can make a developed answer. Like I said just before, think about the consequences of the question, think about counter examples, think about how it applies to your life, your opinions, which are always justified, using a bit of specific vocab related to the topic, trying to throw that in. That's what's going to make a good answer. I would recommend to practice, record yourself. Everybody now has a phone. No? If you don't have a phone, what are you doing? And you can record yourself very easily. You can even use your webcam if you want to do it seriously, because obviously in the exam they will be looking at you like you are looking at me now, communicating, understanding. Record yourself on the webcam answering these questions. Get a timer, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Can I give a complete answer in 20, 30 seconds? If you've got a friend who's also doing C1, then you're very lucky. Use them. Exchange it. Set each other homework. We're going to answer 3 part 1 questions today, send each other an answer, what makes them good, how you could improve them. If you don't have a friend doing C1, try and find one. I'm sure you can find on language exchanges and things, people doing C1 English, people doing C1 courses. they don't need to be native English speakers, do they? People learning English can help you with this a lot. All right, so that is speaking part 1. I hope it's been helpful. Come back next time for speaking part 2. Thanks, bye.